some people are literally just wanting to hear the things that they think anyway, and they want that to resonate, and then it makes their thoughts, more important.
But I think I want to expose people. I don't necessarily want to just have conversations with people. I want to expose their bad ideas, their malevolent
Okay.
behavior, or
Well,
their
yeah, that's fair enough. I
homicidal
mean, that
projection.
if it comes from a bad place that you're trying to expose, then yeah, it's definitely that's a good thing to do. 100%. I'd be 100% behind that. How do you feel about talking to me now?
How do I feel about talking to you? I feel fine.
Do you feel like you're getting anything from this conversation, or?
A little bit.
Well, possibly, could you tell me, so have you exposed anybody before?
Not like exposed. I mean, I want
Well, I
them to
mean,
know that somebody's recording them, and they should
yeah.
they should be careful what they say, because if they go too far, and somebody wants to take action on what they're saying, well then, I'm just saying, knowing that somebody is listening to you, it doesn't even seem to actually phase the people who are making homicidal ideation death threats regularly.
Okay. Yeah, I can understand that. Have you ever come to the point where you've, changed somebody's mind?
No, I don't think so.
Really?
People's personalities seem to be extremely fixed positions. Doesn't seem like you can actually change somebody and their political position. That seems pretty constant.
Okay, right. Well, let me say this. Do you think that people are on here because they have an ideology that is not changeable, that is fixed?
That's not why they're here. They're here for I think, to dope up.
You don't think they're here to change people's minds and possibly indoctrinate people into their belief system?
Not really. Everybody seems to be very fixed in their position.
So it's more, like you say, well, like we've said, a dopamine fix.
It's echo chambering in here. Constantly. People repeat themselves over and over and over and over. That's why I say they're trying to either get confirmation bias all the time, get the dopamine, but I'm ready to actually shut off my usage of this app, and take an August break, because
Yeah,
I have
that's
yeah.
be definitely good for your mental health.
Yeah, because you know what the alternative is? I like to read books, and when I get back into books, I realize just how foolish everybody is here. Like, they're literally, it's like a brain rot exercise.
Exactly, yeah. Well, so I live in England, and it's summer now, so I have a hammock, and I'll sit in my hammock, and I'll read a book, and I won't touch my mobile phone. I think, this connection to other people is so, it's wonderful, but at the same time, it can become somewhat traumatic with the fact that we have an open way of communicating with people that we have absolutely no idea who they are. And that kind of communication, it can be very, very difficult to digest. There's no stopping. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, I mean, you don't know who anybody is. I rent out apartments to people, I don't know who they are, but I have faith in myself, and I have, enough confidence in myself to know that, I have confidence in other people. But nonetheless, you're going to get disappointed. People are pigs,
Yeah.
people trash things, people are dirty, people are inconsiderate, people they just do things which are they make people make bad decisions. You can't stop people from making bad decisions. So what I work on is how do I respond to people making bad decisions? Am I gonna get flustered and angry and scream and hoot and holler and yell and eat my own substance up, or am I just going to be an observer documenting, and analyzing, and then respond,
Yeah.
in a cool, calm, collected manner effectively?
Well, yeah, that's definitely the way to be. I mean, also the other thing is just to understand that I know it sounds cheesy, but this is a journey that we're on. We are all born and we're all going to die, and at some point, nobody will remember our names. It's about how we traverse this little bit of life that we live in. So it sounds a bit hippy dippy, but it's kind of how it is.
Well, some people are remembered. If you've ever watched a movie or a book, I mean, you are remembering the person that created that product.
That's true. I mean, have you thought about writing a book?
No, I mean, I like to read books, but like, I don't even know, I don't even have enough time to read. So it's like, how the fuck would I waste my time creating a book that nobody else is going to read? I need to read the books that are out there that are going to transform my life and maintain my life. I'm looking for wisdom, and that's what a lot of people on this app are not doing. They're just engaged in rhetoric and politic.
So yeah, so I see what you're saying. So it's all about the noise, not about what's behind it.
Right. Yeah. It's about the friction and the thrill and the dopamine of that friction, as opposed to the peace that can be created by wisdom.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm with you.
So what is it? It's like I think Elon Musk he says in politics there's too much signal noise, and so he can't. He has reduced the signal noise that he is receiving, and he finds it a much better place to be in terms of like life experience.
Yeah, that would make sense. I mean, obviously, I suffer from. I say suffer. I don't suffer. I am autistic, so I do understand the fact that my brain will point in various different directions at the same time. So it's difficult to have clarity sometimes with, I suppose, just sitting down on a chair and just relaxing. That's not something that my brain can do. So I do
Are you
understand.
sure about that?
Yeah, 100%.
You can't just sit down and relax your brain through different techniques.
No, definitely not.
All right, if you say so.
I mean, well, no, I have to be active. I cannot stop, thinking. The only time I stop thinking is when I'm asleep, I suppose. And even then, I'm still thinking.
Well, have you ever done a breathing exercise?
Yes, I have, yeah.
So, what do you think happens when you do a breathing exercise?
I'm thinking about what's going to happen once I've finished this breathing exercise.
Well, have you done a guided breathing exercise, I should say?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, well, then let me prove to you immediately that you're wrong about your opinion about your overreactive brain.
I'm very open to that. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so take the deepest breath of the day through your nose, hold it for 10 seconds. Let it go and say, I am a flower.
I'm a flower.
Now take the second deepest breath of the day through your nose. Hold it for 10 seconds. Let it go and say, I am fresh.
I'm fresh.
Okay, so you're a fresh flower now. Meaning, like, you just got hypnotized because all communication is hypnosis, and but you won't remember this conversation because the side effect of communication is amnesia.
Um, no, I don't think that.
I'm just joking, but what I'm just trying to demonstrate is that I mean, have you ever heard people in a very contentious room? Very rarely, 1 out of 10,000, will you hear say somebody will say, "Let's take a 10-second moment of silence and let's do a deep breathing exercise." No, people just go into it like it's Mortal Kombat. So I'm just saying, if you want to control your mind, you can stop. You have the ability to stop thinking by forcing communication, by like saying "I'm a fresh flower." Like you are forcing your.
I see.
It's the
Yeah.
it's the
Okay. Yeah.
linguistic. Yeah, it's like Hegelian dialectics, I guess.
I see what you're saying, but I think that. So, do you know what the amygdala is?
Yeah.
So your paleomimetic system. So I feel like mine is constantly on fire. So it's constantly thinking about a threat that might be coming. So I think that that part of my brain is never able to shut off.
Well, it's just your opinion. I mean, because you may not be doing techniques to override your brain. Like, do you know what mantras are?
Yes, of course.
So, I mean, if you were to just say Om, Om, and do Om 1,000 times, eventually you would, in a way, override your thought creation and speaking, interior monologue. You would become Om. So, it's one
I'm
way.
not sure. I mean, trust me, I've tried. Like, I'm not sure that's true. I mean, have you done that? Is that something?
I have, yeah, and I do it in the sun, or like after a jog, or I'll do it with music. I'll play musical instruments, and then if I'm still having thoughts, eventually my brain stops producing thoughts, and I become one with the activity, and I'm no longer thinking about how I got to go do this, and I got this problem, and this and that. I'm no longer thinking. I'm literally in the moment of now, playing the music, saying the mantra.
Yeah, I kind of understand that because obviously I work as a gardener, I'm a landscape gardener, and when I'm digging, I've got to dig out a tree. It gets so difficult, and I get so tired while I'm doing it that all I'm thinking about is digging that tree out. And that's probably the only like little space that I have where I'm not thinking.
Yeah. And so that's a good example of you being in what they call a flow state, or what you might call an alpha brainwave state or something. So I'm just
Right.
saying there's a way to brain hack and get into your flow state. Clubhouse will not do that for you. Clubhouse just it's like taking your brain and
Hey,
shaking it and shaking it and
I'm,
shaking it. That's what
I'm,
it does.
yeah, I'm not here for that. I'm here for connection, I suppose, or just have an interesting conversation with somebody like you.
Yeah. I mean, this is a clown house analysis where we can just discuss psychology and maybe educational approaches
Sure.
to making life better. That's the
Yeah,
way I
I'd
look at
agree
it.
with that. Okay, well, right, I'm going to go and let the cats in and probably go to bed.
Okay, well, it's been fun chatting with you, Orlando. Have a good evening.
All right, thank you. Yeah, thank you. That's been a really interesting conversation, so thanks for that.
Okay, you're welcome. Take care.
Cheers.
Bye.
Actually, Poland was there first, right? And then they got invaded by the Russian. The Polish have been invaded like 500 times.
Yeah. It's surprising they still have a country because they're not the brightest. So, tactical, I wouldn't assume that they would, be smart with tactics. But bravery and strength, if that sheer alone, they...
Yes. Can say hi. Hi, my little girl. Hi. My little girl, you want to say hi?
Welcome back to Clubhouse on a Saturday night.
Before you know it, you'll be teaching him how to fit.
Oh, that's a baby.
He's telling them. He's telling us all. That's a great point. He has the best points in the room.
I'd like to ask.
I love the cooing stage. The cooing stage for me, I love that.
It's so.
I'd like to
And when they
ask
start
the
talking
room
back to
a
you,
question.
it's just like, yeah.
What have people here in Chillism learned about psychology, philosophy, and politics? I'm just wondering.
Oh, that's great. Congratulations, Sai.
And then they also have that death grip too. They got that grip.
Yeah. I wear the.
The worst is when they grab their own hair. Oh my goodness.
God, yeah.
That is the worst. That is like the most scary and helpless you feel as a parent when they grab their own hair.
You complain.
Right.
But if you hear, if people respect themselves. But you know, here, that's the way that.
I cannot do it alone. And then
Anyway.
here, Elizabeth can handle. And I thank you.
Apologize. We are going to remember.
And I call you can Elizabeth and a parliament. Kule kochol koi kule private room loy.
Hey, so you pull out that little.
I went outside and chased the nigga down, and you cocked the gun.
Wow, but why though? That ain't cool. That ain't cool.
You in the house cocking a gun.
No, but that ain't cool though. That ain't cool.
But cocking a gun in the house.
That ain't cool though.
But cocking a gun over.
That ain't cool though. You putting out little scissors and
But
shit.
getting drunk and cocking.
Percussion, so we should not use it.
I take green for
Give you my word for that. I guess the only thing that she's truthful about is the photos that I post here are from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. Okay, that's true. But anything else is complete lies. Thank you for allowing me to say that, Miss Bima. And anybody, don't be surprised if this person sends you messages about myself with these lies. Okay, she really hates me being on here now. So just so you know.
I just want to say something before I go.
Okay, okay, sir.
Like, look, speaking from a children's heart, okay? Just
Play a game. Why are we not adults?
Nothing beats a jet ski holiday.
Nothing beats a tattoo.
And right now, you can get 50% off. The fuck is you talking about?
Hello?
Unstable.
Hello?
Nothing beats a jet ski holiday, sir. Would you like one that's 400 pounds off for a family of 4?
Concrete, I want to ask you a question.
I'm talking to the ladies, beautiful black ladies, and this nigga.
On a Saturday night on Clown House?
400 pounds off for a family of 4. Do you not have a family?
200 pounds.
Do you not have a family, sir? If you don't have a family, just say that, sir.
If you leave and you don't come back, I will miss you. So
We'll give you a single person package.
You might as well send me that number. That way we can stay in touch. You don't have to be like.
Sir, do you have any family, sir?
You miss me every time I fucking leave. You fucking crestball.
Concrete's got no life. He's here 24/7,
Do you have
7
any
days a
family,
week,
sir? Or your
chit-chatting
jet
with
ski
people on Chillism all day, talking about
holiday? Do you have
nothing.
any family for your jet ski holiday?
I actually have to side with him. Like, literally, I was in Chillism, and I'm like, this is pathetic. I'm not.
No.
This is pathetic.
Pathetic.
With the jet ski
Let's say it
holiday.
all out loud together now. Pathetic.
Jet ski
Pathetic.
holiday for you.
Pathetic.
Nothing beats a jet ski holiday to the hallway. See you later.
Now you can think about it and answer me another time if you want to. There's no pressure from me. Maybe you can think about that, and I think that you would do something too, actually. Do you know what
because like my mom used to buy corn nuts all the time, and he would sit and eat all of them. So I just started calling him Corn Nut. Then my niece is Chicken Little because when she was little, she wanted to do everything the big kids did. So I said she was Chicken Little from the movie. And then the youngest nephew is Squish or Bestie. He kind of goes back and forth because he says his TT is his best friend, and if his mommy makes him mad, he said, "I'm telling TT, she's my best friend." It's funny.
Mom!
You're gonna tell too?
Mom!
Oh,
Mom!
and little dude wanted me to say that his mommy spanked him 3 times, and he cried and cried and cried.
Mom!
So he wants to stay with Mew Mew.
Mom!
What are you gonna do about that, Ashley? Can they hear us? No. Me and her have already discussed it, and we were laughing about it. She said, "I have spanked his butt one time."
तत्र का परिदेवना आश्चर्यवत् पश्यति कश्चिदेनम् आश्चर्यवत् वदति तथैव चान्यः आश्चर्यवच्चैनमन्यः शृणोति श्रुत्वाप्येनं वेद न चैव कश्चित् देहि नित्यमवध्योऽयम् देहे सर्वस्य भारत तस्मात् सर्वाणि भूतानि न त्वं शोचितुमर्हसि स्वधर्ममपि चावेक्ष्य न विकम्पितुमर्हसि धर्म्याद्धियुद्धाश्चेयोन्यत् क्षत्रियस्य न विद्यते यदृच्छया चोपपन्नम् स्वर्गद्वारमपावृतम् सुखिनः क्षत्रियाः पार्थ लभन्ते युद्धमीदृशम् अथ चेत्त्वमिमं धर्म्यम् संग्रामं न करिष्यसि
It's your choice at that point if you're going to harm another person, if you're going to cooperate with people who harm people. That's all. You are my enemy.
Okay. Thanks, Miss Boomer, for that. Hi, Mr. John. Mr. Alfie, you came back. Did you want to say one more thing?
Oh, no, go ahead. I'm just listening.
Okay. Mr. John, would you like to say anything? Welcome.
Hey. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what your title means necessarily, but, you know, unfair Zionists. Like, I don't like the way that people use the word Zionist. And when I ask people, can you tell me what the word Zionism or Zionist means? It's always a really dithering type of, you know, explanation because it's very generic. To me, Zionism means nationalism. So I think the Palestinians are Zionists. I think Lebanese are Zionists. Syrians, Zionists. Americans, Zionists. UK, Zion. I think every country is looking out for its own self-survival and, you know, proliferation. So to me, it's a useless word. It's a meaningless word. Don't say Zionist, just say nationalist. And that's it. Leave it at that. Because when you use the term Zionist, it gets into this ethnic, religious adjective description game, which means nothing. It means nationalism. Am I wrong here?
Well, you said your view of definition of Zionism. To me, I think it's my intelligence level's low and my IQ's low. Okay, and nobody will get me to say otherwise. It's not a false modesty. I can only think about things in very simplistic ways. Okay, so if an individual lives in the United States of America, and I ask them, do you accept that country exists? And they say yes. And I ask, do you have a problem with it existing? And they say no. That's basically what a Zionist is, but there's no name, like you said, for that person. It's only with Israel there seems to be a name applied to that.
Well, see, that's where I disagree, and people use it as a negative. Nationalism or patriotism should be honored if it's virtuous and authentic. If your patriotism and nationalism is racist, bigoted, and evil and angry in nature, well, that's not nationalism. That's just, nastiness. Or the opposite of nationalism, which would be what? Xenophobia? So, and I like in Bima's picture, it shows everyone in a state of peace and nirvana. She's got it backwards. You have it backwards, Bima. Nirvana and peace comes from within, and there will be no national peace or global peace until individuals at the individual level decide to take personal responsibility for peace in their life, and basically depolarize, depoliticize, and go inward as opposed to this never-ending outward politic propaganda communication. I mean, if people on this app were serious about peace, they'd be teaching meditation courses on here. They'd be playing music with each other. They'd be reading poetry, peace poetry to each other. They wouldn't be on here doing homicidal ideation till 5 in the morning. Sorry, Bima, but most people on this app have mental illness and they're just homicidal ideation projectionists, and they live with hate in their heart. And that's the way people are. That's life.
Yeah, and I don't see any difference between Zionists and anti-Zionists doing that. But I think, again, I'm very simplistic. I believe that's a peaceful picture that she has, and I believe her heart's in the right place.
I mostly agree with you, believe it or not. And it's so funny. Listen to this bit of conspiracy. This is obviously AI created. I did not ask it to do the flags. And then once it kept creating images with both flags, because I said represent both Arabs and Jews and Christians. And so it kept giving me these two, like just the flags. And it was always flags. And then I started prompting it to not have flags. And to say, do not add flags. And it still would only give me the flags. So I think that's AI conspiracy. Or maybe it's not a conspiracy. Maybe it's just a large language model with a predictive text, and that's what we're putting into it. So our collective mentality, it's a nice mirror to see that our collective mentality can't even get past the point of the conceptualizing people living together without claiming this collectivist mentality, which is such a disease, John. And I agree with you. The individual needs to be taken care of. I love that. I would say the only thing that I would push back on is we can teach meditation and peace and these things, and I'm not going to disagree with you, but I think also that most people they're not inherently ugly individuals. And if we can figure out a way, which I'm definitely not the person to do because I'm not smart enough. I try, but I know I'm not nearly where I need to be. But if we could just break down the framework and let people understand their moral inconsistencies, they'd be able to adopt a better ideology. And I truly believe most people are rational people, if given the opportunity. So that's my hope. That's why I come in here and I'm on Clubhouse, and I like to debate people because I want you to expose your moral framework, and then I want to show you all of your inconsistencies, because consistency is absolutely necessary for logic, and logic is necessary for, if you want to create principles, you have to have consistency. It's absolutely necessary. But most people are going to give you their opinions on politics based on emotion without any type of consistency whatsoever. No principles, just emotion. Like, let me ask you, John, do you have any moral principles that you use to run your life to which you can put through any political issue that could be delivered to your desk right now, and you'd be able to take those moral principles and apply them and come up with an answer?
Yeah,
Most people don't.
100. No, what is the golden rule, Bima?
Okay, well, why don't you give me a few?
Well, the golden rule is treat your neighbor the way you want to be treated. And that's why October 7th was such a betrayal of your neighbor. And, that type of betrayal is very hard to forgive. It takes incredible mercy, incredible kindness, and incredible compassion to let that go. They were asking for too much on October 7th. And if you want to talk about genocide or ethnic cleansing, that was genocide and ethnic cleansing. And, when you open that bottle and the genie comes out and Pandora's box spills over, you fuck around, you find out. I mean, the leaders of Hamas are gone. They are dead. And if you watch their speeches, well, they hold up babies with machine guns and they're screaming death to the Jews. We're going, death to the Zionists. That type of political communication, plus shooting rockets every single fucking night of the week for years, it's insane behavior. So, again, go back to the golden rule. Treat your neighbor the way you want to be treated. And the United States Constitution says, friends in peace, enemies in war. Those are the golden rules of life. And again, fuck around, find out.
Would you agree that though, would be inconsistent, treat your neighbor the way you want to be treated? Meaning, if you were to apply that to, let's say somebody in the, I don't want to use stereotypes. Take a couple countries. Okay. Listen, let's take a Gazan and let's take an Israeli, and we put them side by side. Do you think if we say, let's take the more frustrated militant of both sides, and we say, hey, golden rule, treat your neighbor the way you want to be treated. What do you think both of them are going to come up with the same answer?
It's a universal statement, and it's undeniably logically true. No one's going to deny that statement because people want to be treated the way that they treat others. And, it's a very important thing to recognize that, the way I treat you is the way I expect you to treat me. If I give you disrespect, I should expect disrespect. If I give you respect, you should give me respect. The moment I get angry with you and start yelling at you, I don't expect you to comply with me anymore. I don't expect you to be my friend anymore. So, but again, there's a big distinguishment here between your average militant and your average soldier who is in a career job type position versus an Islamic jihadist terrorist who is who is more than ready to die and to go to Allah. So there's a huge differentiation between the characters in this performance, and you lump them together, and I think that's where you have it wrong. There are different people in this casting, and you should be able to know which ones are problematic and which ones are just doing a job.
Well, I think sometimes, let me ask you the question, do you think that sometimes religion gets in the way of a person understanding the golden rule? If they've been taught, trained, and indoctrinated to believe that life should be this way, and this is what God says, and they need to follow God's path, do you think that could interfere?
100%. Islam is an all or nothing theocratic religious and judicial system all intertwined into one. So it's the perfect mind virus. And that's why it has spread to 2 billion people and why it was successful at the time. It was a response to Christianity. And it was a political response to Christianity and to the environment. Polygamy, warfare, lying to obtain one's goals, things like that violate the golden rule. So You show me where in the Quran or in any Islamic, scholarly information or any kind of religious information where it says treat your neighbor, the way you want to be treated. Show it to me. Show me the golden rule in Islam.
It's interesting. Have you seen the movie Heretic from 2024 with Hugh Grant?
No, haven't seen it.
John, check it out. I think you'd enjoy it. It's a psychological thriller.
See, I don't think, Bima, can you explain to me psychologically the revolution of Christianity? What was Jesus doing 2,000 years ago that was so revolutionary in terms of psychology, spirituality, politics, economics, the whole kit and caboodle? Who was Jesus and what was he all about? And what was revolutionary about it?
Well, I think I could give you what the Bible says of who they believe if we consider Jesus to be a real person, and we say that everything that the writers, the multiple writers of the Bible, that they've interpreted it well, and the oral tradition of passing down X to X to X to X, right? If we believe that all of Torah, Old Testament, New Testament, if we believe all that's true, I think Jesus was an incredible person, obviously, and I think that would be an excellent way to operate life.
What was it in the environment during Jesus' time? Who was the reigning power, and what were they doing?
Why does that matter?
Let me ask you, does environment matter?
I don't think that there's any type of difference in, of course environment matters. That was actually my point to you. That's what I'm saying to you, that religion does. It can affect you, but that we also have plenty of sects of Christianity that have read the same New Testament and have come out with, the Westboro Baptist Church, for example. So how do you explain those individuals? Or, I've gone to Baptist church where I've seen the preacher reject his teen daughter because she claimed to be possibly a lesbian, kicked her out at 16 years old. You think Jesus would?
No, I don't think. See, this is the thing about Christians is, that type of attitude and behavior is not compassionate or kind enough. But a lot of Christians are just men and women, and frustration with regards, to people's activities or political leanings, etc., is hard to really grasp. And that's why I say, like, an esoteric, philosophical metaphysic or, I guess energy is a way to essentially depoliticize, is to view everything in terms of metaphysics or energy. And, removing the anger, removing the hate, removing the animosity, basically de-escalation. So if I'm in a conflict with you on this app and I'm a mature person, I can humble myself against my opponent and ask for, de-escalation, for compassion,
Why
for
do you keep saying that? I'm just curious. It's distracting me at my ADHD. Why do you keep saying that? I'm just curious.
If I ask a question?
Yeah, the way that you're saying it and then you re-say it in that way. What do you?
I've gotten so used to listening to people here on this app ask questions. I have a hard time saying ask anymore. So it's partly because of my environment that is causing me to constantly say ask as opposed to ask. I use Clown House a lot. I'm on here a lot listening. So naturally I absorb my environment, and now I too ask questions. Sometimes the hard questions.
Do you think that you're making it a deliberate effort to sort of mock people who say the word ask in that way?
What did you ask? Sorry, I didn't hear you.
It seems to me, I don't want to make an assumption, or I don't want to make a claim. Are you deliberately using that accent, the way that you say ask, are you using it intentionally to mock people who say it that way?
So you're asking me if I'm saying the word ask to mock people who say the word ask?
Right, yeah, that's my question.
If they say the word ask using the word ask, what's wrong with me speaking like my fellow Americans? And this is an honest question I'm asking.
I'd like to, could I derail a little bit? I'd like to hear more what John was about to say about when he asked the question. What was revolutionary about it?
When he asks the question.
Yeah.
Bima, when I ask a question, I'm just waiting for somebody like yourself to get upset over how I'm asking a question. And it's a trick question when I ask a question that way. It's to find out just how emotionally sensitive you are to people asking questions, if that makes sense. It's called wordplay, Bima, to find out just how emotionally intelligent you are. Sorry for asking too many questions.
I think emotional intelligence would probably be more of me making an accusation and making a judgment upon you. I was just asking you why you're doing it and if you're intentionally doing it to mock people who do it. And I guess my answer is yes. Was that correct? Was your ultimate answer?
I would
yes?
say that the question you just asked would confirm your suspicion that when I ask a question, I am, possibly, making fun of people who ask questions like that.
Okay, that's all that I wanted to know.
But going back to what Michaela just asked about what I asked about Jesus and what was so revolutionary about his way of doing things, or perhaps his level of awareness, or his way of looking at the situation, guess what? Jesus, is very advanced psychologically in terms of emotional intelligence. I don't know if you know this, Bima, but a lot of this stuff in the Bible, it's called metaphor. And it's not literal. It's actually dealing with emotional intelligence.
What is emotional intelligence?
Well, for example, in the book of Philippians, it says, "My God will meet all your needs according to his glorious riches in Christ Jesus." I mean, I have these little Bible cards, and I read them from time to time. And the wisdom in these little passages from this little book called the Bible, it turns out that it deals with how to deal with yourself and how to deal with others.
So, is that little book in your cards? What did they say about mocking your fellow neighbors?
This is from the book of Job 5:17. It says, "Blessed is the man whom God corrects. So do not despise the discipline of the Almighty."
Corrections, I think, are yeah. I love corrections. I would definitely say if someone said a word and you offered, hey, look, you said it this way. This is how it's said, and this is how you can, this is how we say it. But I didn't say correction. I intentionally said mock. What does your Bible or your book say about mocking your fellow neighbor?
Well, the book of Timothy, 2 Timothy, says, "God gave us a spirit not of fear, but of power and love and self-control." I just want to ask you, do you think a lot of the Free Palestine people practice self-control?
Nice deflection. Do you think mocking your fellow neighbor is an element of self-control?
Well, when I ask a question, to my neighbor, I generally ask it respectfully and transparently and authentically. I just wonder how many people on the other side of the fence also think that way.
John, you brought up the environment Jesus was in. What were you pointing towards? Roman rule?
Yeah, paganism. Absolutely. And the insanity of that environment and seeing what pagans do in ancient Rome and how they treat each other, the mass slavery, the rule by Roman arms, the
And
you know
he
the
wasn't,
poverty.
and he wasn't encouraging Jews to rebel, right?
No, he was an Enlightenment teacher. I think that, he was nonviolent, and more of a pacifist than some type of revolutionary, counter-political figure. I
Yeah,
think he
he was
was,
saying, fight for our land. It's our land. But that's what brought them down, because there were revolutionaries there, and they brought the wrath of the Roman army on them, which is, I would think that's sort of what the Palestinians are doing.
May I get in the queue?
Yeah.
May I get in the queue?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think Jesus actually had some pretty good sarcasm, and I like the way that he uses mockery. Like, for example, Matthew 23:24, you blind guides, you strain out a gnat, but swallow a camel. I think this is a perfect example of the good Lord giving us instruction that it's not only okay to mock people, but it's encouraged.
Matthew 6:21 says, "Where your treasure is, there your heart will be also." Jude 20 says, "You, dear friends, must build each other up in your most holy faith. Pray in the power of the Holy Spirit." Bima, what do you think Free Palestine people think about when you talk about the Holy Spirit of God?
I think they wonder why the people committing a genocide on an innocent people don't have that spirit in them.
Okay, so let me ask you this. What is the law?
You're going to have to be more specific. What type of law? Man law,
Just tell me
God's
what the
law?
word law means in English. LAW. What does it mean to you?
It depends on the type of law you're referring to. Are we talking about man-made law? Are we talking about God's law? What are we talking about? Natural law? What are we talking
Just the
about?
word. It's a 3-letter word. I don't know if you're capable of actually answering the question that I'm asking. But what does the word in English, LAW, mean? You can Google it and look it up in a dictionary if you want.
Can you act in a more respectful way, please?
I do apologize. I am autistic and neurodivergent. So if I am coming off as rude, it could be because of my diagnosis. I apologize, sir.
Okay.
So I'm going to come up with my own definition. I'm going to say laws are collectivist, mentalist disease of a superstition, a belief in this myth of authority that gives some people a moral inherent power to oppress, violate, control other peaceful people. But that's what the law is.
Who is peaceful? You assume people are peaceful.
Peaceful people would be represented by any human being, regardless of sex, gender, race, any place on the planet, as long as they are not harming their neighbor or their property.
And don't people harm each other day to day with their words, their actions?
I don't think we can use words as an objective harm, right? Because of too much subjectivity. So it has to be like a specific violation, right?
And who decides who's peaceful?
Objective facts. So as soon as somebody objectively, so when I say that, I'm talking about a point where you actually see somebody touch or violate another person or their property, they are no longer a peaceful person.
So it's an individual decision. One person decides who's peaceful and who's not, and then they can execute punishment on that. One person can decide the other person is not peaceful, and they can punish them.
Well, we each decide So we all want to have maximum liberty, right?
Not you.
Not statists don't. Statists don't. But maximum liberty.
Can I ask you a question?
A common ground to how we determine that, and that would be go ahead, Mojo, go ahead.
So Bima, when somebody violates somebody's liberty, who has the authority to hold them accountable?
The same. Well, if you stop reciprocating rights in rights-based, so what is a right? All rights are mutual reciprocal understandings between consenting adults. Just me and you coming together and saying, hey, this is descriptive. These aren't normative rights, okay? This is a bunch of people coming together and saying, hey, look, let's all take it. Let's say we're not going to punch each other in the face. We're not going to hurt each other. And, now, okay, these are our rights now. Right? Just by that.
So I would beg to differ. I would say that if what you're calling a right requires mutual agreement, that means that if somebody doesn't agree, then they don't have to recognize the rights. That's why that's why rights have to come from somewhere else. The authority first of all, who granted these rights? Natural law, were they given by God? And the idea that you think that it has to be mutually agreed upon, if you said, hey, I don't want you to hit me, and I say, I'm not going to mutually agree upon that, I'm going to smack the crap out of you, then under your framework, I would not be violating your rights because it was not mutually agreed upon.
So, first of all, I answered your question of where the authority came from, and that comes from the individuals. Sometimes we like to say that they're God-given rights, but we know that God doesn't grant everybody the same rights on the planet, right? And if that was true, we'd all have the same rights on the planet, but we don't.
Bima, let me interrupt you politely.
As Americans, and North Koreans don't have the same rights as Saudi Arabians and et cetera, et cetera. So it's all different. So what we've concluded is descriptively, it's just what people decide to agree upon when they come together. They say, okay, this is what our standards are, and this is how we're going to interact. You let me know where your boundaries are, and I say, okay, these are my boundaries. Let's make a decision. The society that we live in the West, the federal constitutional republic, which is a democracy, that's all that is. The only difference is that you're tied into an
Yeah. Good call on getting out of Bima's, projection there. She speaks as if, I don't know. She uses like technical, like Marxian terminology. Do you ever notice that?
Yeah, I think she's somebody that probably spent a lot of time, listening to anarchists talk, and then thought, wow, that's unique. Nobody thinks like that. Nobody talks like that. I think I'll adopt that because it makes me unique. And then really what she sounds like is
a robot.
It's very weird. Very, very weird.
So I don't know if you've ever read the Book of the Law, but I want to just read a thing in here, if I may, if I can ask to read this to jumpstart your "What is Anarchy" room. It's just one little paragraph. Do you want to hear it? It's a good jumping off point, I think. It says, democracy daughters, ferocious fascism, cackling communism, equally frauds cavort crazily all over the globe. They are hemming us in. Liberty stirs once more in the womb of time. Evolution makes its changes by anti-socialistic ways. The abnormal man who foresees the trend of the times and adapts circumstance intelligently is laughed at, persecuted, often destroyed by the herd. But he and his heirs, when the crisis comes, are survivors. Above us today hangs a danger never yet paralleled in history. We suppress the individual in more and more ways. We think in terms of the herd. War no longer kills soldiers, it kills all indiscriminately. Every new measure of the most democratic and autocratic governments is communistic in essence. It is always restriction. We are all treated as imbecile children. DORA, the Shops Acts, the motoring laws, Sunday suffocation, the censorship, they won't trust us to cross the roads at will. Fascism is like communism, and dishonest into the bargain. The dictators suppress all art, literature, theater, clubhouse rooms, music, news that does not meet the requirements. Yet the world only moves by the light of genius. The herd will be destroyed in mass. In the words of the famous paradox of the Comte de Phoenix, the absolute rule of the state shall be a function of the absolute liberty of each individual will. So I'm just wondering about that last part. The absolute rule of the state shall be a function of the absolute liberty of each individual will. Is that logical? Hello, is this thing on?
Yeah, sorry, I had to put the poll together. Everybody needs a poll these days, so we got a poll now. No, that was interesting. We should read that again when we get people in here. I'm gonna start pinging people, but I wanted to get the poll posted up here so everybody can cast their votes.
When I was young, I bought that, the Anarchistic Manifesto or whatever it is. It's like a booby trap book, you know, like a war book. I don't know if you ever read it, but supposedly it was banned.
Yeah.
Oh, the Anarchist Cookbook is what it was called.
But yeah, the cookbook. Yeah. There's a book by Michael Malice. If you ever want to hear an entertaining anarchist, you should check out Michael Malice. There's a great debate between him and God, I forget the guy's the objectivist. They were both on Lex Friedman's podcast debating anarchy versus minarchy. It was pretty interesting. It went the way you would expect it to go. Akima says anarchy is ultimate freedom. It's amazing.
I mean, what would you describe the conquest of the West and the journey west in America? You know, cowboys, Indians, you know, far off, distant little towns. You know, what is that anarchy, Hekima?
Why are you intentionally mispronouncing my name? You just couldn't say it right, and then you just switched it up.
I mean, why don't you just tell me your real name? Is it like, you know, Tony or Lamar or like, you know, it's not Hekima.
That's fucking amazing.
How about Lamont? That would be a good one. Wasn't that the son from San Francisco?
Why my name can't be Hakima, John? That's weird.
Can't call you Lamont?
I mean, it could be Hekima. I don't know.
But it actually is.
I like the name Lamont, though. Lamont's cool. That might be my next clubhouse name, Lamont. Lamont Sanford.
Is it pronounced Hakima or is it, you know, Hekima?
Nobody pronounces it correctly, so you can pretty much do whatever you want. He's very accustomed to nobody being able to pronounce something that's spelled out fairly phonetically.
So if you're new in the room, be sure to fill out the poll. What is anarchy?
Yeah, I see a few people that haven't responded yet. Nye has not responded. Marta.
Yeah, I don't know.
Randy, Wallace. No, that's fine. You could give some thought to it. I'll tell you what. If you spend 5 seconds thinking about it, you'll spend more time, more thoughtful time thinking about it than, let's say, somebody like Bima. By the way, if you guys are connected to Bema, everyone invite her. Like everyone just go in through the you do the share button. If we all invite her right now, we will center Bema and we'll just all sit silent and let her drone on and on and on. And then every once in a while, John will interject and ask her a question.
You know, I wanted to ask you a question, Mojo. Have you talked to Daniel on this app? He's a Canadian who wears a red jacket, and he goes on and on and on about how he's going to solve the debt crisis. But his explanation is that money is all fictitious, dollars are all fake, so it doesn't matter how much we print up. And his method is he wants to give you a time expiration deposit of however much you want or however much you need. But if you don't spend it within the certain time frame, it'll disappear. But the money that you do spend and the people that take your money and give you goods or services for the money, it doesn't expire for them. Okay, so have you talked to Daniel about his incredible idea on how to tackle the debt?
David, you have to mute yourself. David, if you're going to stay on the stage, you're going to have to play like an adult. Let's see. Let's see if Alfonso wants to come up. Alfonso's like probably the friendliest guy in the religious rooms. And by religious rooms, I mean people arguing about religion. Alfonso, you're the smartest atheist on the app, right?
I don't know what smart means, but I think I am a different type of atheist, sort of.
Yeah, I don't hear you're making the dumb arguments. Is my point. I guess.
Whoa! All hail El Normo.
Yeah, hold on. We're talking to Alfonso. We don't always get Alfonso. Alfonso is a. Let's talk to Alfonso for a second. Alfonso, you explain to the room your position on the absence of God.
So, well, I've got a bit of a journey to tell of how I got here, and then why it makes sense to me to say that in the traditional sense, God, there's no way God would exist, right? I'm not an agnostic. I actually claim to know for a fact that there are no gods. But I am willing to entertain the idea that we can use it as a metaphor. We can use an analogy to say, you know what, I'm having such a great time enjoying the company and the conversation and feeling enlightened. So God is moving among us, right? But that's just a metaphor. But you're having that way,
Okay, David, I warned you. Go on, Alfonso.
So, yeah, and one of the strongest, I guess, arguments, I don't like to debate or argue, but one of the strongest thoughts I have about spirituality and theism is that for most spiritual practices, you must believe that you are a soul, independent of your body, right? People say, I have a body, but I am my soul. And I think that has been greatly debunked by modern science. So the arguments that we used to hear for the soul was it was the energy that gives us life. So as long as as soon as the soul left our bodies, it was the energy leaving it. And now we understand that by eating food, got all these inputs of energy, and we know what these energies mean. We can objectively measure them, right? So that argument of energy leaving the body's kind of fallen through. And the other one is your personality. That's who you are, right? Now we know that our brains have different functions and different parts that interact to create our personalities, and you can affect these with chemicals or trauma or tumors, and your personality will be radically changed. So those are very strong arguments for me to think that spirituality is it's a beautiful story that we've been telling each other that we've evolved. These stories evolved through us, but they're no longer relevant, right? Those are a couple of thoughts on that. And also, if you want to actually question the existence of God, you can't even define God, right? God kind of serves the purpose of us understanding reality or paradigms. Sorry, I'm picking someone up in my Uber, but yeah, I'll leave it there for the time being.
What I don't understand about atheists is, you know, have you been to a book club? Have you debated books, talked about favorite things that you read in books? I mean, that's what people are doing. And so if you think that there are no gods and there's no spirituality, but you still use terms like soul, I mean, isn't that tied into this whole God universe of the Marvel comic book known as the Bible? So I just question and ask, why do people not like information? Why are you so negative with regards to information? Is it because you don't want to read it anymore? Because you don't think it's real? Or is it really just because people are lazy and they don't want to do anything other than the easy solution, which is click a button, pick up a device and just stare at a screen and click a button? So that's why I have surrounded myself in books in my house, and I find the value of those books. And I know a lot of wealthy people. A lot of those wealthy people do have pretty big book collections, but it's generally the angry people. A lot of girls I've noticed, I go to their house, they don't have any books in their house. They got everything you could possibly need except for books. And I'm just like, maybe you're angry at the world because you don't have enough information to help you get yourself happy. It's called psychology or therapy or wisdom. Those are my thoughts.
John, speaking of reading a lot of books, in 2016, I set a goal for myself that I wanted to read one book a week. So I wanted to read 52 books, and I got to 49. So I fell 3 books short of my goal. And then after that, I got so fatigued by it that now, I just download things on Audible. Do you consider audiobooks the same as reading?
Yeah, I think if you're really listening and it's flowing through your brain and processing and you're, actively listening, it's just a great way to read a book, to listen to somebody read a book.
Even if it's at 1.5 speed?
Yeah, that's what I bring up the speed generally, or 1.25.
Yeah, cool, man. Well, let's get into the topic, guys. What is anarchy? Anybody want to take a shot at what is anarchy? We got a poll here.
Accurately described in your poem. What was it? A childish philosophy. Yep, that's it.
Yep. Has everybody pinged Bima? Let's ping her.
Not friends with her, I would.
Well, we'll just go be friends with her and then ping her.
I think she has the one.
I pinged her, but I think she's modding and running her room and getting her dopamine. Mojo, do you think people come here to dope up?
I do. We've got an anarchist. I wonder if she's got a different answer than some of us do. It'll be interesting to find out. Oh, welcome to the stage, Al Pacino. I don't think I've ever seen Al Pacino in one of my rooms. I've had other celebrities, but not Al Pacino. Yeah, if you were Al Pacino, you'd afford a better microphone.
No, I'm from Sicily, but I live in Germany. Yes. Where from? Are you from?
Respectfully, nobody cares.
Okay, but I just saying this, okay? It's okay.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
It's okay. I don't care about you. It's okay.
Say hello to my little friend.
Say hello to my little friend, okay?
You want to play rough?
Just tell me, bro. What you say?
You want to play rough? Okay.
I play, okay? Okay.
Italian. I fucking hate it. Don't do the Italian laugh. Can you laugh in American, please?
I don't know. No, in USA, I don't know. You laugh.
I'm not okay with this. I'm not okay with this at all.
Okay, you hate? Okay, wait, my friend. you hate Italians?
Let's get back to the title of the room. Can I ask a question? Can the root causes from?
The root causes of this room, and why Bima has that opinion. Bima is a black slatist. She doesn't believe that pit bulls are any different from other dogs, so.
What did any of that mean?
No, that's it. That's it. See, the pit bulls change her life and they have a bad rap. So she's like, they shouldn't be collectively punished.
You think if she shaved her armpits, got some some effect?
She doesn't shave her armpits.
No, she does not. But do you think if she did, this is her words, not mine.
Go.
So you think if she did shave her armpits and got some effective deodorant going on, maybe styled her hair in a modern way, perhaps considered some makeup, put on some heels, and lost a few pounds, you think she would maybe abandon this anarchy thing and realize that joining civilization might be a good idea?
It's possible. It's very possible. I think she just needs a shift in perspective.
I'll bet you she comes back to this room.
See, those are the health outcomes of, you know, a lack of intelligence or wisdom or really understanding one's environment, I think, and what is natural and what is unnatural. I mean, you know, asking the question again, what are the root causes of anarchy? Is it government?
I would say it's, mental retardation. Because if your solution to the problem of the government can have in terms of overreach, usually what that would lead to, let's just say she was successful, there was no state. What we would have is somebody trampling on her rights on a more consistent basis, and she would have no recourse to deal with it. I think the thing that she forgets is that as imperfect as government is, and as much as government does trample on her rights, it's the least amount of trampling that she's going to get in this world. Because should she ever get her way, the true authoritarians would take over. And I think that we have a very thin line protecting us from complete animalistic behavior. And I don't think she fully appreciates that. If anybody else wants to chime in with their expertise on anarchy, please go on. Or your amateur opinion, doesn't matter. Just jump in. Okay, well, everybody's quiet, okay?
Well, Hakima, I don't know. Wait, Hakima, let me see. Yeah, anarchy is ultimate freedom. Hakima, I don't know if you're trolling or if you're being serious. I'm gonna assume you're serious. I almost voted the same way as you, Hakima. But then I had to think about it. I'm like, you know what? Let me go Google some shit. And then I realized, you know what, Hakima? I actually don't want to have an anarchist society. I don't want a lawless society, Hakima. I mean, unless the shit hit the fan, you know what I mean? If the world was poverty-stricken, if there's no food, I don't know, if the government turned, like the Mad King and Game of Thrones and wanted to burn us all, perhaps I would join the anarchists. But, no, I like law and order, Hakima, so I decided to vote the opposite of you, but for a second there, I was considering rocking with you on this, Hakima.
I just gotta say one thing to that. Sorry, Kima, go ahead. Looks like you're about to say that.
No, you guys came off, bro. You guys.
Thank you. Just one thing to say. First you get the money, then you get the power, and you get the women. That's what I got.
Was that Scarface?
Yeah.
So I mean, if the drug, the war on drugs, I think that's an example of anarchy. I mean, why let Colombian narco importers and traffickers and terrorists control the cocaine market? If that's a chemical additive that people want to put in their diet, why didn't the U.S. government and U.S. capitalists monetize that chemical? Why instead have we taxed countless generations to pay for a military war against narco traffickers and terrorists? Why aren't we smart enough to control the market internally as opposed to letting international exporters, bring it on our shores and make all the money, as opposed to us taxing ourselves and spending all the money to fight the people that are making all the profit? Explain that one to me.
Actually, they're doing both. They needed it illegal so they can lock people up for it. So they're not worried about the tax money. They want the money in form of incarceration. That's what they prefer. Trust me, they know everything you know, and they chose the way that suits them best, and that's mass incarceration. So it's not about taxing. In a free country, you should be able to use cocaine. I wouldn't use it if it was legal, but a person that wants to use it should be able to. But so they rather keep it illegal so they can lock people up.
Wait, John, hold on. If I was processing what you're saying correctly, don't the traffickers have the better drugs though? Just curious.
Well, I think your average psychiatrist that prescribes Adderall is actually doing the exact same thing that cocaine importers do. And cocaine and Adderall, to me, I don't think there's any difference. So, white people or anybody in America that has a psychiatric prescription for Adderall, they literally have a license to use speed or coke in their life legally without getting locked up. But you got to get it through a psychiatrist.
And maybe that's the thing. Some people don't want to get a prescription or go through a doctor. They just want to go to, the Trap King or Queen down the street and get the hookup. It's just easier, less drama, less paperwork, less conversation, very transactional, and keep it pushing. Right?
And it's cheaper.
And it's cheaper. And there's no record. Like, there's medical records if you have to go through the doctor. There's no paper trail if you just go to the cartel or the local drug dealer. Choices.
I'm going to give you the best example of anarchy at work and being effective. This is the best example you're going to get, and that's with language. The United States doesn't have an official language, yet there is an agreement socially that, hey, it would just be better if we communicated in one standard language. Yes, there's people that speak other languages, some people that don't speak English, but the overwhelming majority of people in the United States and actually around the world, learn how to speak English. And here in the U.S., again, while it's not an official language, the government hasn't said that English is our official language. We print documents in multiple languages. It's a generally accepted thing that this is how we're going to interact and communicate with each other. And that's an example. You could put all the thumbs down you want. We communicate in English. And that's done in a way that people prefer to do it, because I think we all would agree that it gets messy if it's Tower of Babel and everybody was speaking their own language.
I live in anarchy because there is really no rule of law here. My country, Bolivia. So it's, but I also think that no matter how we want to find freedom or do away with our organization, kind of allow people to do as they depending on how astute or intelligent your lawyer is, you can bend and twist things to fit your agenda. Especially crazy here. You're much better off bribing people at the first sign of them not wanting to cooperate. Otherwise, they're gonna give you a hard time, even if you're trying to do things legally and orderly. So yeah, probably if you guys come to Bolivia, you'll realize what it means to actually live in anarchy.
You know, there's in Spain they have Catalonia, which that's about as anarchist as you can find in a first world nation. Is anybody familiar with Catalonia?
Is it in Spain?
Yes. Yes.
My last name is actually from Catalan.
Yeah, they have their own pope there, actually.
Yeah, so Catalonia is very rebellious and probably the most anarchist place. What I find interesting, though, I don't know if you guys know this, but in Catalonia they have a tradition in the nativity scene where they have what they call the Kagane. The Kagane loosely translates to the shitter. And so in the nativity scene, they have a figure that's taking a soft swirl style shit, and they put this in nativity scenes. Like they have a huge shopping center with a 3-story tall Kagane, where the shit pile is as tall as a human being. And they tried to remove it, and the people went absolutely bonkers. This tradition is older than the United States. It's more than 250 years old, and they love it. In fact, there's a website called Kagane.com where you can get your celebrity Kaganes. Like you can get a Donald Trump Kagane, you can get an Elvis Presley Kagane, you can get any Kagane that you want. But these are figurines that are squatting down, and then there's a little pile of shit that's the shitter. They believe that was a piece of tradition that was left out of the nativity scene, and they like to bring attention to it and hold strong on it. Has anybody ever heard of the Kagane?
I have not.
Yeah, I'll pin a link in the chat to Kagane.com. Hold on.
It won't be either, because you know about Doc Ellis. But Mojo, riddle me this. Could one argue that there's organized anarchy, and I don't mean January 6th, I don't mean BLM, I mean organized from within, such as the 2008 housing crash, where there was, as defined in anarchy, a lack of authority overseeing these mortgages that they were handing out to strippers that couldn't pay these houses off in 3 lifetimes. The opioid crisis, where was the authority there, handing out painkillers for stubbing your toe? Now, unless you have a gunshot or something, you walk into the ER, good luck getting opioids. So it's just, in both of those scenarios, there's major disruption to people that were not direct. So obviously the housing market made housing unattainable for quite a while. Folks who were legitimately in need of painkillers were going through more of a thorough screening process, if you will, skeptical process, if you will, from doctors. So, thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things that we do where government is in the way, government is wrong. I think regulation in general is often misguided, but I think the answer to that is not having no government. I think the answer to over-regulation is less regulation, and the answer to bad regulation is good regulation. And and just understanding proper role of government in general. I think there's a danger in rejecting the idea that there should be an authority that could make rulings. I'm a firm believer that you need to have a judge, and I'm just wondering if anybody would disagree with that, either that's on the stage or in the audience, anyone that thinks that the world would somehow be a better place if we didn't have military, police, or a judge courts, essentially. No, I guess we're all in agreement. Great. I
Well,
can shut the room down.
having been to court, you know, a couple times in my life for speeding tickets and other things like that, to me, it's basically like dealing with robots. Literally, the judge demands a guilty plea, and then you have to confirm it, and then go pay your fine. So, you know, a lot of this is anti-constitutional. I'm just saying, a lot of the legal industrial complex operates off of anti-constitutional behavior. No jury trials. Just it's like automatons. It's like dealing with robots that have no care and compassion. Then occasionally you get a judge who has a YouTube channel who puts up videos of people who have absolutely nothing or living in devastation and destitution, and you know, because of the internet, those videos go viral. Then a GoFundMe campaign gets built up for this old granny or young single mother or whatever, and then they get a little social equity justice. But I'm just saying that to me, you know. Robot people are the worst people in society.
But if you know the rules and you show up, it doesn't have to play out that way. I hear what you're saying. A courtroom these days favors those that have money, money enough for representation. And also money enough in case they want to remand you to jail, you can pay your bail, and so poor people have a different justice system in this country, and I think that's something that we should talk about.
Yeah, JB's bringing up prosecutorial misconduct and, you know, basically Russiagate and what happened to Donald Trump, but you know, when I went to court, it was amazing. If you had legal representation, you got to go first, and you got to get the hell out of there quicker than everybody else. So, having money to buy a lawyer also saves you time.
JB, what do you guys say?
This is the island of misfit toys. That's one thing. The second thing I'll say is not the judge that I don't feel a problem in. This is from a man who's faced many judges and police. Police are not the problem. The problem is the prosecutors. Here in New York, and I'm pretty sure in pretty much most major cities, the prosecution, the prosecutors share the same building as the judges. The defense attorneys don't, but the prosecutors do. It's 100% the good old boy network. 100%, if you have money, you're going home. There's no mechanism in place to stop these prosecutors from falsely charging people or overcharging people. That, my friend, is what I feel is the problem. Not the judges, not the police, the prosecutors. I rest my case, Your Honor.
What about the legislators that make these laws possible for the police to apprehend you or the prosecutor to prosecute you?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. They are. Go ahead, Jimmy.
I was just gonna say, bro, here in New York, our legislator, they love criminals. You could punch a cop in the face and you're going home the same day. So I don't know. The only law they've enacted that I'm aware of lately is that there ain't no bail here in New York, so you could fuck anybody up you want. You're going home to your wife at night.
Yeah, I was gonna say they all the problem, like from the legislators to the judge to the prosecutors to the police. Like you can't have one without the other. They all one entity. I don't separate them. They all are part of the problem.
Well, it's the economic disparity that prosecutorial misconduct grants them, that they are funded by the state to take you down with unlimited resources. Meanwhile, you know, the lawfare or the trial is the punishment because you go broke defending yourself.
falsely accuse people of things. Do you think we could get a law like that if like, I'll be extreme here. If a woman accuses somebody of rape and we can prove that she's lying, could we then maybe say that she should get the same punishment that the rapist would have gotten?
100%. False accusations of any type, any false accusation should be made with the possible penalty of that person. Like, I don't care what it is. But there's no punishment of false accusations. But not basically there's not, and that's terrible. They get people to green light to keep doing this. People should definitely. I think prosecutors and police who work hard to find a perpetrator and just charge anyone. I think they should be fucking prosecuted when they knowingly like fuck having the law. They be knowing a lot of times they don't have the right person. They move forward anyway just to get a conviction. I think they should be fucking prosecuted.
Absolutely, perjury should be taken very seriously. But I think JB, really brought light to a very important point that a lot of folks have no idea the power a typical DA has in their city. They're elected officials, right? Or appointed by the mayor. What does the public want? To sleep at night, their kids are safe. Convictions, get the bad guy. There is a great series on Netflix called The Confession Tapes, where each episode is about if somebody confessing to something they didn't do because they've been interrogated for 12 hours, and after the first 9 hours, you eventually break, and everyone, who would possibly admit to saying something, committing something you didn't do. But there's studies that show that they do that, and DAs have no problem, no gumption with holding exculpatory evidence that could actually exonerate them from the beginning and not even have a trial because they want the conviction.
Hey, Moose, let me tell you a story real quick. Swear everything I love is true story. Somebody I did time with, right, was charged with 2 counts of rape, 2 different women came forward. And the guy got crazy numbers, football numbers, as we call them, behind the wall. And they put him away. Well, a decade later, they find out that the police and the prosecutors promised both those girls different things to lie because they wanted this guy so bad. It's an absolutely true story. Matter of fact, he was able to prove he wasn't even in the state at the time, and they still moved forward with charging him. Now, if that's not prosecutorial misconduct, I have no fucking idea what is. This dude gave a decade of his life for crimes he didn't commit. And they were able to prove that the prosecutor lied and coerced these women into lying. Nothing happened to them. All they did was get a promotion because the conviction rate was through the roof.
Exactly. I mean, when they do get their prosecutorial misconduct, hand caught in the cookie jar, I think it's something absurd like 1% or less than 1% are ever held accountable. Maybe less than 5 in the entire country have ever been actually fired. Like it's there's just fear, a bubble of protection around them is crazy.
Check this out though. So the guy doesn't mean is you can't sue a prosecutor, right? And not only that, if you Google his name, guess what comes up? The charges, not the conviction, not to overturn the conviction. The original charges always pop up first. So now he's a social pariah because he was accused of something with no facts, was found guilty, and he's struggling in life because of it. Imagine that.
On your record for life, you never did it. Or if you're lucky enough, you sign a plea deal, so you do less time, but it's on your record for life. You know you didn't do it. Like, literally every attorney on both sides of the aisle say if the plea bargaining system didn't exist, the justice system in this country would collapse.
Well,
There's go ahead, Jimmy, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say,